for coming out today for the Walkaway Rescue America Fake News Takedown. This is a very, very special event to me. It's close to my heart because it was the fake news that led to me walking away from the Democratic Party. Let's give it up for everyone who walked away from the Democratic Party this year. Because there were a lot of us, you know, a lot of people made the same decision that I made to walk away this year. We've seen already in just the exit polls, the studies of the demographics that have been done so far. We're going to see more and more as the voting demographics begin to shift. But what we saw is that we nearly doubled the black vote. We saw enormous shifting with the Hispanic community, the Asian community, the Jewish community, and a cause very close to my heart, we doubled the LGBT vote. Doubled. Joe Biden, for those of you who didn't hear at home, he finished my sentence by saying, is a loser. Joe Biden grew with exactly one demographic of people, which was older, straight white men. Now, we love older straight white men in the walkaway campaign, don't get me wrong, I want to be clear about that. But the truth is, on our side of the fence, we don't virtue signal constantly about how we're the party of tolerance and inclusivity and how the other side are morally deficient bigots and racists and Nazis and homophobes. We don't do that. But it does kind of bear pointing out, I think, that the Democrat Party is becoming the party of straight white people. Congratulations, guys. So we're seeing this year that all of these different minority demographics are beginning to shift, in addition to the fact that we know that President Trump has gotten 10.5 million more votes than he got in 2016. So why is this happening? Why are all of these people making the decision to walk away? Well, these guys right here are a big, huge part of the puzzle that is why people are walking away from the left. It's these guys. It's MSNBC, it's CNN, it's the New York Times, it's BuzzFeed, it's Vice, it's Rachel Maddow, it's Anderson Cooper, it's Don Lemon. Oh, that's true too. And it's even happening on our side as well. We're seeing that a lot. Now, Don Lemon, I actually have, hold on now. I have a little bit of compassion for Don Lemon. Hear me out. Hear me out. I have a little bit of compassion for Don Lemon because I truly believe he doesn't understand at all what's going on. I don't even think he's invited to the meetings at CNN. Like when everyone sits down and they have their strategy planning meetings and they say, okay, how are we going to present the news today? Well, we got to figure out, you know, how to make Trump Hitler today. We got to figure out how to make his following all white supremacists. We've got to figure out how to turn every story, spin every story into this. And I don't think that they invite him. So I think that he just sits down every day in front of the teleprompter and just starts scrolling and he just sees Nazis, white supremacists, Hitler, whatever. And then he starts crying. And he's just like, the white supremacy. And I feel kind of bad for him because I don't think he's smart enough to get what's going on. I don't think he gets it. Like Rachel Maddow actually is in on it. Anderson Cooper's actually in on it. I don't think Don Lemon's in on it. He's not smart enough. He's too stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2016, is everybody warmed up today? Are you guys, yeah. Yeah, are you ready to boo as loud as you can? Okay. Great. In 2016, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Love it. Love it. It's like vitamins. I voted for Hillary Clinton, and and when Donald Trump won the election in November of 2016, I was shocked, horrified, and above all, scared to death. I was absolutely terrified. And the reason why I was terrified is because I'd spent my entire life voting based off of my minority status. I'm a gay man in America. And the marketing that was directed towards me and people like me, and it's not just me, it's black people, it's brown people, it's LGBT people, it's women, it's Jewish people, it's Asian people. The marketing that is directed towards groups like us is that the Democrat Party is the only party that marginalized classes of minorities in this country, and that the Republican Party is the party of greedy, straight white people. These narratives are doubled over and over and over again and repeated over and over and over again by entities like CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times. They told us, well, first of all, when Donald Trump came down that escalator and announced that he was running for president, they all acted like it was a big joke. They thought it was hilarious. They thought it was so funny that this reality show buffoon would dare to run for office, that he would dare to try to even attempt to stand up for the American people. But then something began to happen. His movement began to grow and grow. What he was saying was resonating with the American people because for the first time ever, you guys were actually being represented. You guys were actually being heard. You guys actually had a voice that actually cared about you. And you had the greatest fighter that we've ever had standing up for you. Ever. And so naturally the movement began to grow and grow. And when it got to the point that it became clear that Donald Trump was going to be the Republican nominee, suddenly it wasn't so funny anymore. Suddenly CNN and MSNBC and the likes had to somehow change their narrative, shift the story, because all of a sudden their preferred candidate, Hillary Clinton, didn't necessarily have this all sewn up. So they had to ask themselves, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to take this guy out? Because it's not their job to tell the news. It's not their job to go out and investigate and research and tell stories. It has become their job, according to them, to be a propaganda arm for the Democrat Party. And as a propaganda arm for the Democrat Party, they had to take Donald Trump out. So how are we going to do it? How are we going to take Donald Trump out? And they sat down and they said to themselves, what triggers our base more than anything else? Social injustice. We have to make Donald Trump the most racist, the most bigoted, the most homophobic, the most evil man, sinister evil man who's ever run for office before. And they wasted absolutely no time doing it. They began going to his rallies, saying that black people weren't safe to go there, Hispanic people weren't safe to go there. They likened them to KKK rallies. And we see, are they on our side? Okay, that's okay, good. They need the message most of all. So they began going to Trump rallies and saying that minority classes of people weren't safe going there. They began saying that Donald Trump wanted to ban all Muslims from being in the United States, that he wanted to send people back to Africa, that Mike Pence wanted to put gay people in concentration camps in this country. That was an interesting one. And they said that Donald Trump called all Mexicans rapists. And then I remember distinctly one day being at the gym. This is back when I used to go to the gym. It was a very different me. As soon as this election is wrapped up, I will be going to the gym again. But, well, I appreciate that. If you're looking at me right now, you're probably going, you went to the gym. But I did go to the gym. And I was on the treadmill, and I remember looking up, running, and all of a sudden I saw on the screen, Donald Trump mocks disabled reporter. And I was horrified. And I had a pit in my stomach, and it made me feel sick. Because not only did Donald Trump, according to CNN, make fun of someone's disability, but he had a cheering crowd of deplorable people around him, laughing and cheering as he made fun of someone's disability. It was the sickest thing I'd ever seen. And it made me hate all of you guys. Hate you. Hate you. Hate you. I love you back. That wasn't the end of the story. There's a happy ending. Stay tuned. So I was sick to my stomach, but the media that I trusted, like CNN, told me, don't worry about it. Yes, he's disgusting. Yes, his followers are disgusting. But but he's got about a 3% chance of winning. And then that number went down and down the closer we got to election day. By election day, it was down to about 1%. Hillary Clinton was going to take it in a 99% landslide. So imagine my shock and horror when at 2:15 a.m. Eastern Time, another beautiful media source, the Huffington Post, called the election, and I refreshed the page, and there was Donald Trump with a giant red banner above his head that said, "Nightmare." It said, "Nightmare, President Trump." And the byline was, "Millions to lose their health insurance, civil rights to be rolled back, ... and other possible headlines from a Trump presidency. So literally the moment that Donald Trump got elected, they wasted no time with the fear-mongering and the fake news, creating, literally manufacturing headlines that might appear in the future to try scaring us right now, and it worked brilliantly. I was terrified. I was terrified. I was so scared that at the time I was working as a hairstylist and I had to cancel all my appointments the next day. I called into work and I said, I cancel all my appointments. I cannot be anywhere near scissors today. Or bleach. And so I did what any calm, rational, thinking person would do. I got on Facebook and I started crying. And I started asking my fellow Americans, how could you do this? How could you vote for such an awful person? How could you do this to America? How could you do this to me? How could you do this to black people, brown people, LGBT people? How could you guys do this? And nobody would answer me. No one. And so for months, I found myself becoming more and more and more angry and just lashing out on social media, posting and posting. Finally, in January of 2017, 2 months after the election, I posted that I would never be able to understand how any of you horrible people could vote for a man who was capable of standing before a cheering crowd and mocking a reporter's disability. I love you right back. And that is when somebody reached out to me privately with a link to a video entitled "Debunking that Trump Mocked the Disabled Reporter." And what this video showed, it was a compilation of footage that showed 5-6 instances of Donald Trump engaging in that same voice and that same gesture as he did in that rally that day in 2015 or 16, going way back at times even before the election. But in every incident, the commonality was that he was imitating someone who was flailing because they were caught in a lie, because they were doing something shady, because they were doing something dishonest. And so that day at that rally, when he imitated that reporter who, yes, happened to be disabled, he wasn't making fun of that reporter's disability. He was making fun of the fact that that reporter who happened to be disabled was lying to the American people. Lying, yes, you can clap for that. And it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. Because I looked at it and I had to watch it 3 or 4 times. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I don't think Donald Trump mocked that reporter's disability. But this presented an even bigger conundrum for me, because if Donald Trump didn't mock a reporter's disability, why did those motherfuckers tell me that he did? CNN sucks! CNN sucks! CNN sucks! CNN sucks! When I realized that Donald Trump did not mock a reporter's disability, but CNN had told me that he did, I became completely confused and shocked, and I didn't understand what was going on. And you know why? Because I fucking trusted you people! I thought you were honest. I thought you were the good guys. I thought you told the truth. I thought you cared about black people and brown people and LGBT people the way you claim to. But you don't care about us. You're using us. They're using us. All of us. They don't care about black Americans. They don't care about brown Americans. They don't care about Asian people. They don't care about white people either. Don't get me wrong. They don't care about anybody. They care about power and control. Those are the only things that CNN and the mainstream media care about. We're not going to give it to them. And we're not going to give it to them. They will lie. They will cheat. They will omit. They will deceive. They will blatantly patch up anything that they need to patch up for their chosen candidates. If they need to bury evidence for them, they'll do anything that they need to do. But most appalling, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is that if you are a minority person in this country, we are selectively and intentionally targeted by the liberal media in this country to keep us suspended in a state of fear and terror and victim mentality, believing that we exist in a country of systemic racism, systemic oppression, trapped in a system from which we cannot succeed and we cannot break free. And it's a huge, colossal lie. Many of us right now are feeling uncertain because we're caught in a state of limbo with this election. We don't know what's true. We don't know what's not true. We don't know where we're headed. We don't know what's going to happen next. And that's a terrible feeling, to not be certain about where we are or where we're going. It's a bad feeling. But I can tell you, I have learned enough in the last 2.5 years, 3 years, to be able to tell you this. If Giuliani came out and Sidney Powell came out and Jenna Ellis came out and gave the press conference that they gave the other day, and all of these sons of bitches can do is talk about Giuliani's hair dye, we're on the right track. We're on the right track. If they can't report a single thing that happened at that press conference besides how much Giuliani was sweating, they're the ones who need to be sweating. You need to be sweating. And so today, we come here to tell CNN, shame on you! 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 And listen, the evidence speaks for itself. The evidence speaks for itself. Today, you will be hearing from every type of American, black Americans, brown Americans, LGBT Americans, straight Americans, white Americans, who walked away from the political left, and not 100 years ago, walked away since 2016. And walked away since 2016 largely because the fake news in this country cannot be trusted. Cannot be trusted, and they've got to go. It's time for the fake news to go. How about that? It's time for you to go. It's time for you to go. It's time for you to go.